Some of you may know me. I have the pleasure to moderate this super attractive session, the Connected Cooperative and Automated Logistics Operations Activity Field Launch within Alice. Just a couple of tips. The session will be recorded. For all the participants, you will receive a link to the recorded session and the presentations that we will have today. Please keep your microphones mute if you are not speaking, and your cameras off. If not, your face will be in the recording. Please share your questions to the speakers by using the chat. And if you have any other question regarding on how this session will move forward, just let me know right now. If not, we will go to the next slide. Pablo, I'm going to introduce the agenda of the session. First of all, we have the welcome and introduction by Andrea De Candido, policy officer in the European Commission, on the future urban and mobility systems, and specifically leading the SICAM effort. It will be followed by Armin Gruber, by BMW and chairman of the SICAM initiative. For those that you don't know, Armin will explain what is it about, this SICAM initiative, which is also partnered with Alice. Last but not least, we'll have our Secretary General Fernando Lesa from Alice. And going into detail of the session, we'll have the presentation of two super interesting projects related to autonomous vehicles, multi-project. The presentation will be led by Ragnhild Wold from ITS Norway, coordinator of the multi-project. It will be followed by the award project, a presentation made by Hans Wetzinger from Digitrans and Loha Hasni from Enide. And the key presentation and the reason of this session, the Alice Connected Cooperative and Automated Logistics Activity Launch, that it will be led by Selko Jeftic from Enide, and also vice chair of the thematic group 1. And just for those that you don't know what is the thematic group 1, please, next slide, Pablo. Is one of the thematic groups in Alice. We have 5 thematic groups, and this one specifically it's about fleets and assets that are energy efficient. And overall, what we aim in this thematic group is all efforts for a zero emission road transport. And as you can see, this is the structure, slightly changed in the structure in the past months. We have a new acting chair, Andrea Condotta from Gruber Logistics. And I take the opportunity to thank to Peter Leonard from Colruyt Group, that was chair of this group until this moment, for all the efforts and all the activities that he made for make this thematic group successful. As you can see, the composition, we have different task forces within the thematic group, and this new, the Connected Cooperative and Automated Logistics 1, it will be led by Selko. So I don't take much time to the session, and I give the floor to Mr. Andrea De Candido. Andrea?
Thank you very much, Maximo. And thank you very much to Alice for having invited the Commission to participate in this event taking place here today. It's really a pleasure in the next few minutes to illustrate a bit what is our overall approach when speaking about what we're doing in connected, cooperative and automated mobility development in the EU. Next slide, please. So first of all, a bit of background. Why are we putting an effort and why are we putting resources in this domain? Well, because when we're speaking of automation in road transportation, we are speaking of an area that is actually supporting uh, some of the biggest priorities of the Commission in terms of overall policy objectives. And these are mainly the Green Deal. So we see how automation uh, can contribute or significantly also contributes to the achievement of the Green Deal objective. For example, just to mention one, through the optimization of traffic flows. It is also contributing to the other twin transition, which is the digital transition, since automation by definition is digitally enabled. So we will be fully exploiting all the possibilities that are offered by digitalization in looking into automation on road transportation. It is also, and this I think is absolutely relevant also in this context, supporting the competitiveness of European industry on the global scale, which is another very important objective that we have. And then we have, let's say, three subsets in terms of objectives that are equally important for us, which is on one side, the contributing towards the Vision Zero objective, so reducing the number of fatality casualties on our roads, increase the accessibility of mobility services to our population, and then, of course, the reducing harmful emissions. But what we're speaking of is not simply what we're looking at in terms of objective is not simply to replace driven vehicles with automated vehicles. We're really looking into a completely different landscape in which the overall mobility ecosystem will be something different, will be organized in a different way, so to make life much better in terms of quality to our citizens. Uh, Next slide, please. And in this respect, I'm very pleased to be here today because I think there might be, and I want to immediately diffuse the perception that when we're speaking about automated mobility, it's only about passenger vehicles. No, in the intention of the Commission, passengers and good transportation are at the same level, go hand in hand. So they are equally important in the overall effort that we're making. And let me just mention this survey that we recently launched in the frame of the Commission, dedicated to CCAM, and where we were asking what are the most promising use cases when we're looking into the development of CCAM solutions. And what has come out is that actually public transportation, but also freight transportation, so the logistics services, are top on this agenda, with actually passenger cars being slightly lower down. So this is confirming, the outcomes of this survey are confirming actually how important the overall freight transportation and logistic operations are in the frame of what we're doing on CCAM. Next slide, please. What we could have done at European level was simply to decide, okay, we have a certain amount of money, we dump it on the table and we let technology be developed and then it will sort itself out. This would not work. This is an interesting slide that was presented by a colleague of mine in the Joint Research Center in a meeting we had a few weeks ago. And it highlights how we can't simply expect the technology to solve all issues. We need to, of course, support and finance the development of new technologies, but then the solutions that are stemming from such developments need to be deployed in an organized way. We need to have a clear plan in mind on how we want to, what we want to develop, what kind of impact this might have, and then guide the deployment of the future solutions in order not to generate actually a situation which would be worse than the starting point. Next slide, please. For this reason, we have decided to address CCAM through public-private partnership that we have set up, which is the EU CCAM partnership. I will not address this because I imagine that Armin coming after me, who is the chair of this partnership, will be speaking about it, so I will not touch upon it at all. But I want to just highlight a bit what are the main challenges that we see in this overall effort when developing automated mobility solutions. We can't put the money everywhere in the same way. We need to manage to identify what are the most promising use cases, where are the areas that we're already close to having a solution ready to be deployed on the market, what other areas are still an early phase of development, and therefore we need to do more research effort more than an innovation effort. This needs to be well understood, and so we need to clearly understand what is the state of the art of what is available right now today. We've got to, and this is extremely important, you will understand from the side of the Commission, fully understand what is the societal added value of anything we're developing. If we put money on the table, we want to make sure that this is because it brings us an added value to citizens in the end. This is the only reason for which the Commission is really willing to put money on the table. We need to understand what is the business case for the different autonomous solutions. We need to understand exactly why is it relevant to develop something. And when I speak about business case, it's not necessarily exclusively economic. I make an example outside of the logistic area. If we develop an automated solution for a shuttle to be deployed in some urban environment or so on to pick up passengers, the business case is the added value that this solution can represent in terms of a new mobility service that is provided to the end users. And then I come to the biggest challenge that we have, which is how to ensure that when we are putting money in research, this leads to something. What we don't want is to have simply research projects that deliver outcomes that then end up in a cupboard in some university or something like that. What we want to do research if there is a clear intention to do something after research. And of course, this something after research needs to be in the plans, not of the research community, but it needs to be in the plans of public authorities, industry, whoever is responsible for the deployment side of CCAM solutions. Next slide, please. And one of the things that we need when we're speaking about CCAM solutions is, of course, regulation. And already last year, we had the regulation concerning automated driving systems. That was the first regulation actually on a global level to foresee the deployment, so to allow for the type approval of vehicles of level 4 of automation, so with no driver or no operator on board. This year, very recently in the past days, we've had the final approval of the regulation amending the ITS directive that was issued in 2010. And amongst the features of this new amendment, we have the introduction, the making mandatory for certain data to be provided by member states, data that is absolutely necessary to be able to operate automated vehicles, like, for example, having in digital format constantly updated data concerning speed limits on our roads. This is demonstrating how actually regulation can go fast. Regulation and technology development can go hand in hand if there is, of course, a willingness from the relevant actors to do so. And this is a bit what we try to do also through the partnership, is really the place, and also the projects that we fund on our side, is the place where to bring together all the relevant actors, meaning not only the academic side, not only the research side, but also the public authority side, the industrial side, the road operator side, in order to go hand in hand in developing, in conducting the work on CCAM development. Next slide. What we're also doing, and this is relevant for research more specifically, is to try, we know that one of the big hurdles in conducting research on automated vehicles is the obtaining, especially if this research is conducted cross-border, like in the case of the projects that we will be hearing today. It's one of the big hurdles is getting the exemptions from the national traffic rules to be able to put the testing vehicles on the road. What we're trying to do is, with the support of the partnership and of Project FAME, to go towards a harmonization of the procedures that are related to the releasing of these exemptions. I'm afraid to say this is not something that will be happening in the next 6 months or possibly in the next year, but possibly for the projects that will be launched in the future waves of projects in this domain, they will have a much easier situation than the ones that projects have still today. Next slide. Finally, just a word on international collaboration, to say that we in the EU see that when we're speaking about automated vehicles and automated solutions on road transportation, it's not something that is only pertaining to the EU. I said in the beginning that we're looking also to support the competitiveness of our industry beyond the EU. And this is why we also see the importance to have a dialogue with relevant partners outside of Europe, in order to achieve a number of objectives, which is even that of optimizing the use of resources in the different regions, in terms of sharing when it is possible to share, but mostly even to make sure that the different regions go in a synchronized way towards a harmonized approach, so that we don't have an unnecessary fragmentation in terms of the market in the different regions. With that, I would stop it here. So next slide. And of course, I will be more than happy to take any question you might have for me. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Andrea. Any question from the people in the chat? Just a reminder that we'll have a questions section at the end of the session. Thank you very much, Andrea. Just as a summary, I think a sentence that you mentioned is that technology alone are not the solution. So technology is good, but I think, identifying the needs and requirements from the users, in this case the logistic users, also is a key point, and this is why this new activity within ALICE tries to support the effort of the European Commission. Thank you very much, Andrea, and I give the floor to Armin Hacher from the CCAM initiative. Armin, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Maximo, and thank you very much for the opportunity to introduce CCAM partnership in this circumstances. And thank you, Andrea, for introducing already the framework conditions for this partnership. And as you said, I will go a bit deeper into what is the partnership delivering in this context. So I'll say a moment in this introducing chart, because this is already on the left-hand side, the structure how we are working. So the CCAM partnership is entitled to support the research program of Horizon Europe for the years 21 to 27, and delivering, let's say, the work programs, which then will lead to research projects. This is the main task of the partnership. We started 3 years ago, maybe even 4 years ago. In December, we started from the CCAM platform. At that time, getting the task to build this partnership and to develop the strategic research and innovation agenda. Already 2 years ago, we were fully established in the program, and we were live and fully working. We started in a small group of, let's say, 15 people, really organizing many things with stakeholder community of around 50 to 60 organizations. And now we are beyond 200, far beyond 200 already now. So every month, new members want to be in the team. Very, very good success here to really cover all sectors of relevant stakeholders, be it public, private, be it service providers, industry, infrastructure partners. So all the sectors are represented very well now in the partnership. We are working in the 7 clusters you see on the left-hand side. I start from the outer ring to the center. So coordination and societal needs is a big precondition to work really on the topic and also on the technology. And this is why the dark blue ring of the clusters 2, 3, 4, and 5, they are really doing the content of vehicle technologies, validation, integrating CCAM into the transport system, but also very important key enabling technologies like artificial intelligence, etc. With all this having said, we are really working on this big important core topic of the cluster 1, the large-scale demonstrations, and that's what I'm going to talk about a bit more in the next minutes, because this is the core of the partnership. We are just now having half of the time over, and we are going deeper into demonstrating not only developing technologies, doing research projects on different solutions, but now really combining them to really fulfilling use cases. This is how the partnership is structured. It's structured in phases, and the phase 1 is now close to being finished. We will then have the second milestone, which says that we have really a framework available to work together in research projects on a more, let's say, consistent way. This is a very important step, and the next few years will really be invested in preparing even better and starting large-scale demonstrations. So safety standards is a very important step forward without going to all the details here. I think this is really important to understand that enabling technologies are really the key topic to understand where the future is going for. I make an example here. Artificial intelligence can be applied in many different ways. If you apply it in the wrong way, you will never come to an end, and you will never find solutions which are really safe traffic on roads. So it's really important to have a professional view on these key enabling technologies and understanding what they can deliver and also what they cannot deliver. We see that in many startups which are then failing in the end, even if a lot of money is behind them. On the next slide, you see already how we are working on the large-scale demonstrations very concretely. So we have this 3-step approach of starting with the pilots from Horizon 2020, the former framework program of research. And we have also installed a 2022 project here. And the next step was, which is just in the way of being launched, is a city-oriented large-scale demonstration where the partnerships of CCAM and ToZero combine forces. ToZero is the partnership on towards zero emissions in road transport. So we are combining electromobility, charging infrastructure, and many other topics together with CCAM in city emission projects so that cities are enabled to improve the traffic system as a whole my favorite example in this case is a very nice one. I like it to say that cities have a good opportunity to have automated charging infrastructure in parking lots. So if the cars are able, by support of infrastructure, to find their parking spaces and also to find charging spots, and they can be removed from the charging when they are fully charged, then a lot of cars can be charged during being in the parking lot. So a big opportunity for more efficient electromobility in cities. Only one of many examples. And now we are really coming to the most important phase, which is the bigger large-scale demonstration projects, which we are planning now for the coming work programs. So I think it's really just in time that this CCAL, if I may call it like this, so the logistics initiative from Alice, which I appreciate very much, is just in time to support the process of these large-scale demonstrations, where logistics definitely will play a major role, also relating to this, what Andrea showed before. On the next slide, I go even a bit deeper and more concrete, because it's not only the CCAM partnership around, which on the left side you see the cover picture of the strategic research and innovation agenda. And as we are in the middle of the partnership, we had the task to really update the SRIA. You know that 4 years ago, the world was very fragmented around CCAM, and there were so many nice but maybe unrealistic ideas in the world. And now we are much more coming to the more concrete solutions and more applications than we had as a basis 4 years ago. So now updating the SRIA makes it much better to focus on large-scale demonstrations with this SRIA update. But parallel to the work in the partnership, I'm also leading the air track technology platform for road transport working group on I would say also CCAM. So we aligned the titles now because it's really exactly the same focus. But the AirTrack roadmap is really from a technology platform view, looking at even long-term picture far beyond the next years, even a picture of 2050, which we included a vision here. So this document is also available online by airtrack.eu. And for this, we also will update the chapter of the Agenda 2030 of this roadmap with a focus on innovation use cases. So you see the parallelity. We have the large-scale demonstrations ahead of us, writing the work programs just now, and the AirTrack working group will deliver the relevant use cases, which should be then the content of these large-scale demonstrations. To the next and last slide, I go even more concrete, and this is an overview of the AirTrack use cases which we recommend being content of large-scale demonstrations. So we have clustered them into 6 areas, and in the darker writing you see the logistics related use cases. So it's a lot of fleet management opportunities for logistics providers are out there, supported also by safety and traffic management related services, which need to be really co-created together with public authorities on the framework of the ITS regulation, which Andrea mentioned. So this is all now coming together. But also on highways, we will see examples like truck safe auto follow functions, where one truck has a high performant level 2 assistance function with the driver fully responsible, and the second truck may be autonomously really. So the minimum version of a platoon where both trucks have the same brand and the same technology on board, so that they can really make this happen, which was already demonstrated in 2017 in Amsterdam, but clear that it's a long way to go. Also, the truck terminals and hub-to-hub operations or other confined areas like ports and so on are a very important part of use cases which can be demonstrated now much better. And we will hear from Modi that there are anyway many things already around. Also, last mile goods and services is an important part, but also flexible route delivery of goods with the longer distances in cities is nearly a final target, because the technology of automation is really depending on the complexity of the traffic and on the vehicle speed. With the low speeds of, let's say, confined areas and the more controlled surrounding, we will see earlier developments than in the most complex city traffic with relatively high speeds. Even the highway driving with the high speed shouldn't be easier to achieve because of the low complexity of the traffic. So this weighing between the complexity and the vehicle speeds is the most important thing which we are now thinking of to really define the best large-scale demonstration projects for the next years. With this, I'd like to stop, and I'm open for your questions and stay on board for any other further discussions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Armin Reiter from the SICAM partnership. No questions in the chat. Don't be shy. If you don't have questions now or you want to keep it at the end of the session, we'll have some time allocated, as I said, at the end. Fernando Liesa, Secretary General of ALICE, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Maximo, for the introduction. And actually, let me start by thanking both Andrea and Armin for being with us in the launch of this activity field in ALICE. And for those of you that you don't know ALICE is the Alliance for Logistics Innovation through Collaboration in Europe. We are recognized as European technology platform, and we look into how different technologies, different fields can be really applied in the field of logistics and support the sector to transition to zero emissions in an affordable way. Here in this slide, you see our current membership, and then you can sense what are we working on. I would like to start by making a little bit of history of why we are launching this initiative. Later, Shalko, that is actually chairing this initiative, will share what we are going to do, but I think it's important to give a little bit of background and also framework for this initiative. I remember it was in 2018, Stefan Neubauer, colleague from Armin and chair of Fairtrack, and ALICE leadership were discussing on partnerships in Horizon Europe. And that moment, we in an ALICE assembly, we agreed to support these two partnerships, or in that moment it was partnerships on digital and green road transport that were converted in these two partnerships, 2.0, that was also mentioned by Armin, and SICAM. At that moment, we envision this partnership as the way to engage between road transport and logistics to create possibilities for this autonomous transport, addressing and supporting logistics challenges. And I was honored actually to be in the starting phase of SICAM, part of the writing team on these large-scale demonstrations. And after the creation of the association, we are very proud members of SICAM. And in a moment in time, we wanted to get as many logistics companies as possible involved directly in the SICAM, that this is completely open, and I recommend all logistics companies and stakeholders in this domain that want to go deeper on the technologies, on the applications, really setting up the agenda, that they join the SICAM association, because that's the place where the agenda for the program, as Armin was mentioning, is set. And then still at this moment, we see the participation of logistics companies in that association not as well as good as we wanted to do. So then this initiative comes to reinforce that gap, but also to address the feeling we got thanks to the Moody project that will be presented later on being this key strategic area for shippers and logistics companies to develop, and really the need to create a framework to connect the technologies and the applications with the end users. So this is what we are trying to address, and this is the framework for this activity field launch. And our goal is really to be able to support logistics industry and creating a good framework for them to interact with the European Commission, the programs, the partnership, and hopefully getting them more and more engaged. In a moment in time they may jump in the SECAM partnership directly to really co-create the agenda and next steps. Meantime, what we want to work in our activity field is really to connect these developments to the logistics operations, particularly because we find they can provide value in terms of efficiencies. For example, some examples is how you get better when you enter into a logistics facility connected to the logistics facility, and some connectivity features can really support that today. And but also looking into safety, a lot of companies are telling us on the risk on safety in some of the operations, not only on driving but also on loading and unloading. And if we can achieve automation in those connections, we will also increase safety in that regard. And also looking to support the carbonization, how we can lever automated transportation for that. An additional element that we have discovered through our members is that this could be an important lever to decongest the roads during daytime. In the medium long term, we are able to use the roads at night for transporting goods. And of course, with drivers, this will be difficult, but with some autonomous features, this could be possible. But this will need and require a lot of change in logistics and supply chain. So then all those elements we want to start looking at and getting discussed with our partners, so then we can provide better requirements in this development. So I don't want to go deeper on the country borders should not create barriers, because this has been addressed by both Andrea and Armin. And at the end, our focus in this activity field is really looking into the implications and interdependencies of the application of these technologies for the logistics operations in real logistics conditions. So then it's how we can get the best out of these technologies, which are the key elements to create value on these elements, and also to really understand that drivers do more than driving in trucks. So then how these operations that could be in future be done, for example, loading, unloading, charging, addressing customs or other authorities, how we can, what these disruptions in the system means for, or change in the already means for the logistics operations, how this can impact use cases and so on. Many of them that we have gathered through interviews with our members in the frame of the Moody project, and that will be shared later on. So on top of what it was mentioned, we are also following different projects and different initiatives. Of course, Moody and Aware that are protagonists today in this session, but others in the past, even some of them like Epicenter or Pioneers that are linked to the ports and looking into the future of ports, that also addressed as part of this future of ports and terminals, connected and automated road transport features. So then we try to bring these elements together, creating an ecosystem, engage with the stakeholders, and then with the aim to really accelerate the adoption, as Andrea said at the beginning, making sure the results and the outcomes are not only driving the research framework and program academic elements, but of course reaching as much as possible a broader community. So then that's all on my side. Thanking again Andrea, European Commission, and Armin for the introduction. Let me take the time to give it back to Maximo for the next presentations. Thank you.